What's up, everybody? I'm Jonathan. Welcome to Jacques Tvis. So, taking another break from streaming. I'll probably be streaming at some point in the next few hours, or maybe I've already started streaming. I don't know. I'm pre-recording this, so I wanted to do before the book 12 comes out of the Cradle series. I wanted to do a tier list because I thought it would be pretty fun. I've never done one, so on the channel. So here we go. I've got my opinions, and they are hot. They're very controversial, I'm sure. So I got the 11 books that are out so far. I've read all of them multiple times. I'm going to go through in order and just tell you which ones that are my favorites. So I only have C tier is the lowest. I don't know if any of these will be C tier. Honestly, I've thought as little as possible about this, so it's all like in the moment. So there you go. But I don't think anything will be below a C tier. So all these are really great books, even if I like some of them more than others. So S tier will obviously be my favorite. A will be not my favorite, but really, really good. B will be it's a decent book, and C maybe I don't even need a C because I like all of these books. So all right, here we go. So Unsold, the first book in the series. It's a solid book. It really introduces Lyndon. We get to meet Yaren. I should also say I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler free as possible, but when I'm talking about the later books, obviously there's going to be spoilers. So if you want to know my ranking, once you get to the book that you haven't read, you can skip to the end, I guess, and see what I did. So yeah, so I'm gonna have to say some things about it, obviously. All right, to explain why I like some other as opposed to others. All right, Unsold. I think it's a really great book. I really enjoy it. It is not in the S tier for me, not because it's not a really, really good book. I would put this as A. This is a very solid entry in this series. It's the one that started it all. So once I read it, I was like, I know I need to keep reading. So definitely one of my favorites, but it's not the S tier. I've got my favorites, if you will. I love all these books. All right, so A tier. It's solid entry. You get to see like the whole story of Lyndon, why he's going on this great journey. You get to learn about his past, and it takes a long time for him to really come out of that. But it really just sets up a Bloodline. I think it's this one very well. So yeah, just really good, solid book. All right, so Soulsmith. Soulsmith introduces Ethan and Fisher Gesha. And Jai Long, and we also Lyndon makes it to Iron in this book, and in a really good way. So my problem with this book, I'm going to put this in B, in a B tier. It's not as good as the first book, but it is good. And the reason I put it in B tier is the first half of the book, for me, just kind of drags on a bit. The whole thing with Fisher Gesha and the war between the tribes. I mean, it's not bad. It's just I can't wait for them to get to the temple. Once they get into the temple, boom! It just goes like crazy. I love it. But you have like this long period where they're just kind of chilling, they're hanging out, and I'm just like, okay, let's get on with this. Let's get on with the story here. The beginning is good because it continues on from Unsold, but it's not a bad book. I think it's a really good book. It's just not as good as Unsold, I think, until you get to the second half. If it went for the second half, I would probably not enjoy the book at all. But I really love the second half. So stick in it. There you go. All right, Black Flame. Black Flame is really good. We're introduced to Orthos. We get to see Lyndon finally gets a second path, which is obviously Black Flame. We get Cassius. I really love Cassius. I really love the Black Flame Trials. That's a really fun storyline. Just it has all the training homage that we get in the second half of book 2, but it's different because it's added Black Flame into it. And then we have this giant battle between Jai Long and Yaren, and then we have what's that other guy's name? He's the father, the Sand Viper guy who fights Lyndon. Oh, it's so good. I love their fight with Orthos, just excellent. So this one I think actually beats Unsold. So I'm going to slide this one over. And I think this one is actually above Unsold. But it's A tier. I do love it. Don't get me wrong. But there are other books that I enjoy more than Black Flame. But man, it's just solid. We get to learn about the Black Flame Empire. We get to learn about the Jai clan. We learn about the Aurelius family. All sorts of great stuff in there. But really, the Black Flame Trials, Orthos, the battle with Jai Long. We get to see Lyndon extend the hand to Jai Chen. I'm going a lot more in depth than I thought I would. Great book. I love it. So it's like maybe it's the top of A so far. Okay. So next we get Skysworn. So Skysworn we have I love Skysworn. I'm just gonna go ahead. Let me just go ahead and say right now, I'm gonna put it as an S tier. Now this might not be in the S tier for everybody. I love Skysworn. You introduce Mercy. You have you're introduced to the Dread Gods. You get to know about Yaren's backstory. You get to learn about the blood. What are they called? I'm blanking right now. The Blood Shadows. You have Ethan fighting Longhook. Is that what his name is? All sorts of stuff. You have Lyndon. It starts off with the battle with Jai Long. This like big battle that we've been waiting on, or this duel that we've been waiting on since the beginning of book 2, or the end of book 2 finally happens. And of course the irony is by the time it happens we're like, well, let's just get on with it. We got so much more to deal with because the Dread Gods are waking up. But the battle is epic. It's really, really fun. I love the montage at the beginning with Ethan and the gang showing up with Lyndon in prison. It's so funny. Just a solid book. And you have Mercy, Yaren, and Lyndon all kind of crammed together, getting that they get looked down upon for different reasons because while they're in the Skysworns, the Skysworn Trials or whatever is really good. I love like Lyndon riding on the back of Orthos like through the competition. Really great stuff. So a lot of character stuff with Lyndon as he's kind of separated a little bit from Yaren, and just some good stuff there. So this is one of my favorites, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it's actually tied with Ghostwater. So I know that they're technically one's behind the other, but Ghostwater is so good. I love Ghostwater. It depends on the day as to which one of these two is my favorite. So some days this is my favorite, and some days this is my favorite. So Lyndon gets separated from everybody, basically, except for Orthos, Little Blue. He gets separated, and he has to basically survive. That's his only goal, is survival in the Ghostwater facility. And he has this gold dragon hunting him down, trying to kill him. And he's just trying to, live. And then you add to that the pocket world is collapsing, and he's got to figure out a way to get out. And you have Orthos basically training him in the Black Flame, and you had Dross, who's one of the best characters in the series, and Dross shows up, and he starts helping everything, and you're introduced to what's that guy's name? The horn guy. I can't remember why I forget his name. You're introduced to him. You get Harmony, Akuro Harmony, and that battle's really great. Of course, the great battle is with the first good battle is with the Gold Dragon, whatever her name is, and man, that's so good. And then you have on the other side, Yaren and Mercy teamed up, and they have to learn to work together. And when they're fighting between, what's his name, Gyro or Byro, whatever the Skysworn captain's name is, when he fights Mercy and Yaren, that's such a great battle. Anyways. So I love these two. Both of these are great. I can understand if these aren't your favorites, but they are mine. So this one primarily because of Mercy and the Blood Shadow information we learn about there. This being in the Skysworn's a lot of fun. Ghostwater, it's my favorite because I just love the Lyndon being on his own again, having to survive by himself, which is one of the things I loved about the second half of book 2. All right, next we have book 6, which is Underlord. Dude, this is an amazing book. So basically, we're introduced into the Uncrowned tournament, which is coming up. And so this takes place between Ghostwater and the Uncrowned. And so, obviously, our heroes want to be part of the Uncrowned tournament. And so, they have to make it to Underlord. So, they go to this special place that the Akura family allows. The Black Flame and whatever that other empire is. And you get a lot of conflict between the two. You have Yaren and Mercy and Lyndon and Athan, who are all still Skysworn, and they have to basically keep the peace while also trying to become Underlords, and it's just great. But really, the battle between the other guys, I forget their names. I'm terrible with names. The three. I don't remember if they're True Golds or if they're actually Underlords. I think they're Underlords versus our three characters who are all True Golds at this point. It's just really excellent. So you have 3 Underlords versus 3 True Golds, and that fight is great. And at the end we see Mercy and her relationship with her mother. That's good. We get a pretty good introduction to Akura Charity. I like her a lot. And so it's just some great stuff in here. So I think this one, I think I'm going to put this one here. So the second trilogy is actually, I enjoy more than the first trilogy. So, kind of when I started, I'm ready to get to these 3 books. These are great. So, I don't think it quite makes it up here for me, but yeah, it is still really good. All right, Uncrowned. So, we have the first book in the Uncrowned tournament. Or we finally get to the Uncrowned tournament. It starts off with some more training for Lyndon, where he's separated from everybody else except for Dross and Little Blue, and they have to. Oh, and I think Orthos leaves in this one, so Orthos is kind of gone, which introduced the next step over here. Anywho, so he's they're getting ready for the tournament. He's with Mercy. At the Akura family getting trained, and those first few chapters are really good about him trying to measure up to the Akura family. So that's great. So I really enjoy this book. And then we finally get to the Uncrowned tournament, and there's a lot of great stuff in there. It does kind of drag on in the middle, but picks up a lot in the end. My only complaint with this book is that kind of like it does drag a little bit in the middle, and then at the end, like I didn't like that there's a break in the Uncrowned tournament. I wish he had just uh, added like some of the training to maybe Underlord, made it a little bit longer, and then made this uh, all about the Uncrowned tournament completed the whole thing in one book. But it's not what he did, so I'm going to put this here. Uh, it's not a bad book. I think it's a really good book, but there are other books that I prefer. Um, so it doesn't have the same problem that book 2 has. Again, I love book 2, so don't get me wrong. I love all of these books. I don't know if there's going to be any down here. All right, moving on. What number is this? 8, I think. Winter Steel. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you this is my least favorite book in the series. So we start off, we have... it's not immediately, but Lyndon loses very quickly, and I never really cared for the reason why Lyndon loses the fight, and then like half the book, like we get these back and forth between Yaren and Mercy and Ethan, and then Lyndon on his own, and I liked the Lyndon on his own part. I just got bored with. At least the first couple times I read it, I was bored with the Yaren and Mercy and Ethan parts. I was just once Lyndon was out of the tournament, I was kind of out of the tournament too. So I just didn't really feel all the pressure. I was like, I don't really care. Like, I hope Yaren wins or Mercy or Ethan, but you know. I don't really care. Like, Lennon's doing his own thing. I'm ready for this battle to start. And once it does, like, man, it's great. But it just took too long. I thought the points system was pretty funny. Lyndon becoming obsessed with points, and we get to meet, we've already met Akura, Grace, and Pride, but we really get to know them. We kind of get to see Lyndon responding with them. We do get to see Ruby. And so that was a decent part of the book. So I did enjoy that. It's just it was about the Uncrowned tournament, but it didn't have all the fun parts of the Uncrowned tournament like this one did. It just had some of them. So yeah, it was okay. All right, moving on. Book 9. This is book 9. All right. So this is Bloodline. So Lyndon finally goes home. The Uncrowned tournament's over. And Lyndon's ready to go home because the Titan is on its way to destroy Sacred Valley. So this is probably my next S tier book. I love this book. I'm having a hard time remembering how it ends. I think they end up fighting a Dread God. So that's pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. I think that's the first time they fight a Dread God. But you have like Lyndon, who's super powerful now. He is an Underlord Herald. No, he's a Sage. I always get it mixed up. Yaren's the Herald. He's the Sage. And he's coming home, and he's like the second or third most powerful person that's ever come, or that the village has ever seen. Because they had that gold guy in the first book, and they had the sword sage and whatever. But anywho, so he comes back, and just like the reaction, I love how they captured a lot of that. So I love this book. I think it's really, really good. Yeah. So Uh, it's my third favorite. I think I'm confident in saying that. So, just really well done. We get all the people meet his family, and we kind of see he really has some bitterness about how his family treated him, all these years. And I love seeing him get his comeuppance finally with the Way clan. And man, when he shows up and Weishi Kelsa and saves her, man, just so good, just so good. Of course, we meet Jai Long and Jai Chen again, and the whole gang is reunited. Just great. And then, of course, they decide to fight a Dread God. So good, so good. All right. Next, we have the Reaper, Book 10. So in this one, they decide to go explore the labyrinth. So it's after here we get to the labyrinth, and we start learning the truths about Cradle, and so we're finally getting to understand how Cradle works, and ultimately with him fighting a monarch. And man, it's good. It is really, really good. So we have the whole gang. Lyndon's kind of pushing everybody. He doesn't want to leave everybody. And so this is like Heartbreak, where they get him as far as they can, and then he's like passed on to the next group. And so one person will take care of the next hurdle, and they'll kind of pass him on so that he can the group can go on, and then they leave, go back to the surface, and help the other battle, the battle that's not quite as important, but really good. We learn a lot about how the world works. We learn a lot about all that kind of stuff. We get a lot of like friendship development, or like the group really develops, and just really good. I really like this one. I would put this, I think I'd put this here. So it's on, these two will probably flip back and forth. I like both of them, but man, Black Flame is really good. Re- Reaper is good. We also find out about Ethan. We find out about his past and all that fun stuff. And I think that's really good. All right, last one. We've got what is this one called? Dread. Oh, yeah, Dread God. All right, so this one, such an excellent book. So we have Lyndon. He has now basically defied the monarchs, but he hasn't done it so far that they're really willing to go against him. He's the king of the labyrinth, he's in charge of the labyrinth, but they know something's up. They know that he's ready to, probably going to go against them, but it had the war hasn't broken out. We've kind of gotten into a cold war with Lyndon and the monarchs, and he's kind of upset the balance there. But in this one, the war begins. So we have him fighting Akura Malice and Akura Charity, and both of that fight is excellent. That fight is really well done, and I love why he's fighting for mercy. Also, before that, we have him fighting the what is that other dread god? It's the Hollow King. Is that what it's called? He's the small one, the lion with the mental facilities. Some of that story is just excellent. I love some of the dreams, and like you have this corrupted or you have this malicious what's the mind spirit's name? I'm forgetting. Dross. You have Dross, and he's kind of acting malicious. It's hilarious. He goes into dreams to help people, and it's so funny. Yeah, so this is just a really great book. I really, really enjoy this one. I've only read this one twice, I think, as opposed to the 3 times that I've read all of these. So I don't remember it as well as I remember the others, but man, it's such a good book. So I'm going to place this one. This one's hard. I think that I will place it here. So I think these two will probably go back and forth. I love Unsold. It is such a great book. But one of the benefits of this one is that you already have all the knowledge of how the world works, as opposed to this one where if you're on rereading it, you have to learn all that stuff again. So this is just my biased list. So again, I didn't end up using C. I didn't think I would. I love all these books, even Winter Steel. Even I feel like it's like the second half of this book that didn't get finished, plus a little bit extra that was just all right. I felt like the story was too long. The Winter Steel never made sense, because it's like, hey, let me throw this idea of Winter Steel at the very end. There was no build up for the name Winter Steel, so it took me forever to remember the name. There was little to no significance in it. I had kind of checked out of the Uncrowned tournament once Lyndon lost, and yeah, so there you go. That's my list. Let me know what you think. What is your list of this series? Do you think that I am completely wrong, irrational? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear from you. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I play video games, talk nerdy stuff, review comics, whatever I feel like doing it. If you got anything you want me to talk about, let me know. I'll catch you next time. Peace.